Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss the introduction part and the nomenclature of carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid, which is quite familiar in our day-to-day life, as we are using aspirin, that is carboxylic acid, citric acid, which is found in the citrus fruit, tartaric acid, which is found in the tamarind, and the acetic acid, which is found in the vinegar which we are using at home, and also the fatty acids which is occur in the natural fats as it is shown here. So carboxylic acid having a group, a functional group which is called as carboxyl group, that is the functional group COOH, that is called as a carboxyl functional group. The carboxyl functional group which have a carbonyl group, that is C double bond O, is called as a carbonyl group, and on that carbon there is a hydroxy group, that is OH. So the carboxyl group that is having a carbonyl group, that is C double bond O, is a carbonyl group which is attached to the hydroxy group, that is OH. Hence it is named as a carboxyl group. That is a mixture of these two names, carbo and here oxyl. That's why the name comes carboxyl group. So carboxyl group, that is a COOH. That is, in short, we write this one as COOH. What it means? This carbon is having double bonded O and there is one OH on this carbon. So we are quite familiar with a lot of examples that is having a carboxyl group COOH. So in this video we are going to discuss the nomenclature of carboxylic acid. That is, we are discussing here its nomenclature. So better we start with the most simplest example of carboxylic acid, that is one carbon carboxylic acid, that is HCOOH. That is, and here it is 2 carbon carboxylic acid and this is 3 carbon carboxylic acid. So while naming it in a IUPAC, you have to take the carboxyl acid group, you have to take in the main chain. And you have to start the counting from here because more preference has to be given to the carboxylic acid group. So here there is only one carbon, therefore we use the word root meth, and we are ending with the word that is oic acid. When we are using the suffix here for the functional group COH, we have to use the suffix that is oic acid. So what will be the name for this one? That is methanoic acid, because here AN you have to use methanoic acid. The second one is a 2 carbon, that means eth word we have to use, and here this 3 carbon, therefore prop word is used, and all the carbon carbon bond is single, therefore we are using the primary suffix an. So that is methanoic acid, ethanoic acid, propanoic acid. So these are the very common examples of carboxylic acid. That is, the simplest carboxylic acid is the methanoic acid, that is 1 carbon acid. This is 2 carbon ethanoic, that is commonly called as acetic acid, and this is commonly called as formic acid. So these are the very most important as the simplest example of carboxylic acid. Next we'll be taking some another examples. In these examples we can see that here there are 2 number of acidic groups are there, that is carboxylic acid, 2 carboxylic acid groups are there. As here the carboxylic acid groups we have to take in the main chain, and when you see here in the first example in the main chain, because 2 carboxylic acid and here 2 carbons are there, so that is it is written in bracket, otherwise we can write in this way, that is COOH, CH2, CH2, COOH. So you can count here how many number of carbon atoms are there in the main chain, that is this carbon 1, here 2 carbons are there, so 3, and here 1 4. So total 4 number of carbons are there in the main chain. So what will be the word root? That is but. But here we have in this case two carboxylic acid groups are there. So we have to, when we are using the suffix oic acid, we have to use a di here. So we have to use dioic acid because two acidic groups are there. And here carbon-carbon bond is single, therefore we use the word butane. So butane dioic acid. So the other one will be in this way the name. Here total 4 carbons are there. So butane dioic acid, and here total 2 carboxylic acid and 3 CH2s are there. So total 5 carbon atoms are there in the main chain, therefore we have to use pent, and here also 2 acidic groups are there, therefore we are using the word dioic acid. So what will be the number of carbon in the third case? Here 4 carbon and total we can have here 6. So that's why hexane dioic acid. So these are the name. In this way we have to name it when the main chain having 2 carboxylic acid, in that case we have to name in this way. Let us take one more example. In this example we can see that here are 3 number of acidic group, that is 3 acidic groups are there. So in such case how we name this one? Because this, the middle acidic group, that is this one, is actually the branched one. So when we rewrite this one, how we can write this one? This acidic group better you can write here. So here when the 3 acidic groups are there and it is not possible to include all the 3 acidic group in the main chain, because the chain should be continuous. So if we include these in the main chain, at the time this one will not be in the chain. Similarly, if we include this in the main chain, that is this part COOH is here. If we include this one in the main chain, at the time this one is not there in the main chain. So it is not possible to include all the 3 acidic groups in the main chain, because acidic groups are the terminal groups, and the 3 terminal part cannot be taken in a continuous. So in such a case, how we name this one? In such cases, we will be not including the number of carbon of COH in the main chain. So that means this number of carbon, that is the acidic group carbons, are not included in the main chain. So in that case, how many number of carbon are there now in the main chain? That is excluding the acidic group. Just let us count here. This is the first carbon, this is the second carbon, and this is the third carbon, since this COH is here. So that means now we can say that this is the main chain. That is, once again I will rewrite this one. Here the acidic group that is here, COOH, because this we are writing in this way, that will be more better. So here these only are in the main chain. So the other part, that is the 3 acidic groups which is here, that should be named separately. It should not be included in the main chain. Here the reason is because 3 acidic group cannot be included in the main chain, because we cannot include at a time 3 acidic group. So in such a case, how we name this one? Just name the first the main chain, you have to name it, and you have to use tricarboxylic acid words in this. So instead of using the suffix dioic acid or trioic acid, what will be using here? That is tricarboxylic acid. So in such a case, what will be using the word? That is tricarboxylic acid. So the name of this compound is propane, because here 1, 2, 3. First carbon, this is the first carbon, second carbon, third carbon. So here 3 carboxylic acid groups are there, and that is one is on the first carbon, one is on the second carbon, and one is on the third carbon. So on the all the three carbons there is one acidic group. That's why propane, that is the center one, main chain propane, 1 2 3 tricarboxylic acid, because here three carboxylic acids are there, therefore it is called as tricarboxylic acid. Next example. In this example, the acidic group is present, that is a principal functional group. So we need to include in the main chain. So this is the main chain, and this one is the substitute, that is chloro. So in this there are how many number of carbon atom in the main chain? That is the first. You have to give preference to the acidic group, therefore that is the first carbon. This is the second, third, 4 and 5. So there is only one substitute that is present on the fourth carbon, therefore it is named as 4-chloro. And here, because there is one double bond that is on the second carbon, that you can see on the second carbon there is double bond, therefore it is named as 2-pentene, then oic acid. That is the name given for this compound. Next one. In this also there is one double bond and there is no substitute, only the main chain having the 4 carbons, therefore it is called as a 2-butanoic acid, or it can also be named as a but-2-ene. It can be named as but-2-ene 1-oic acid. Like this also we can name this one, that is but-2-ene 1-oic acid. When there is one phenyl group, as it is shown here, so in that case we have to make, this is the main chain and which have 3 number of carbons, therefore it is having the word root, that is propane, and because one of the carbon is the acidic group, therefore it is called as propanoic acid. And here we have to start the counting from this carbon, that is the more preference has to be given for the acidic carbon, and this is the second carbon, this is the third carbon. So on the third carbon there is one substitute, that is actually the phenyl group. So that's why on the third carbon there is a phenyl group, therefore it is called as 3-phenyl propanoic acid. So in the textbook, one of the in-text text, that is the in-text question is given, that is the question 12.6. Give the IUPAC name of the following compound. So we have to try this example. So first example, that is PHCH2CH2COOH. We have to name this one. What is PH? That is the phenyl group. In short, we are writing as PH. That is a phenyl group. Phenyl, that is nothing but the C6H5 group. That is, in short, we are writing as that is PH. So there is one phenyl group, and here 3 carbons are there. So that is which one is the, this is the main chain, and we have to start the counting from here 1 2 3. So on the third carbon there is one phenyl group. So what will be the name for this one? That is 3-phenyl. And how many numbers of carbon are there in the word root? That is on the main chain 3 carbon, therefore propanoic acid. So this is the name 3-phenyl propanoic acid. Next example, that is CH3 twice C double bond CHCOOH. So something which is given in the bracket twice or thrice, better to expand this one. So when we expand it, that is we can write this one as CH3, and this is the carbon which is given double bond CHCOOH. That is what actually given here. So here, which one is the main chain? The main chain, this one is the main chain, and this one can be taken as a substitute. So what is the number of carbon in the main chain? That is, this is the first carbon, second carbon, third carbon and fourth carbon. And on the third carbon there is one methyl group, that is a substitute. So 3-methyl, and what we have the word root, that is but, since 4 number of carbons are there in the main chain, and that is and there is one double bond, and that double bond is on the second carbon. So the name for this compound is 3-methyl but-2-enoic acid. That is, we can also write this one as 3-methyl but-2-ene 1 oic acid. In the cyclic compound as it is given here, in such a case, as the cyclic part, we cannot include the acidic group in the cyclic part. So in that case, we have to use the suffix here, that is carboxylic acid. Instead of using the suffix oic acid, we can use a carboxylic acid here. Just like an aldehyde we have done in which the cyclic compound we cannot include the aldehyde group. In the same way, for the acids also, we cannot include the acidic group in the main chain because the main chain is the cyclic part. So in such a case, the name will be given, that is it is ending with the name carboxylic acid. So we have to name this separately, that is carboxylic acid. Now you can, what will be the name for this part? Because this carbon should be given as first carbon because the acidic group is attached to this carbon. So this one will be the second carbon. So on the second carbon, methyl group is there. Therefore 2-methyl, and this one is a cyclic part, that is cyclopentane. This one is actually cyclopentane because it is a pentagon and carboxylic acid which we are using here. So it is very important to note that whenever there is a acidic group that is attached to a cyclic part, in that we have to use the word carboxylic acid. Next, for the aromatic acids, when the COH group is attached to the benzene group, that is a benzene part, so in that case we will be using the word benzoic acid. So for example, these are not there. So then what will be the name for this one? That is benzoic acid. Now benzoic acid, when the substitutes are here, that is at 2, 4 and 6 position. Why? Because this is the first position. So this can be taken as second, and if you want, this can also be taken as second, but in both the cases you will be getting the same result. So I am taking this one as first and this one as second, this one is third, 4, 5 and 6. So here the nitro group is on the second, fourth and sixth carbon. Therefore it is called as 2, 4, 6, and tri word will be, prefix will be used for representing the 3 number of nitro group. Therefore 3, that is trinitro-benzoic acid. So in this video we discussed about some of the examples of carboxylic acid, its IUPAC name. So better you try some more examples from the reference book and some of the exercise questions in which you can find the IUPAC name. Just try this one. So this is all about this video. Have a nice day.